What's good, people? Thanks for tuning in to another Trench Fundamental for Linemen, where we teach you what goes on along the line of scrimmage. In our last video, we discussed alignment techniques and gaps. In this video, we will be discussing gap responsibilities and fundamental defensive line fronts. Fundamental fronts and gap responsibilities. As in defensive and offensive linemen, there are three common fronts that you should take the time to learn and know. Over, under, and odd. In your prospective defense, those might have different names, but the fundamental idea of all three stays the same. A front is the first line of defense you have against an offensive attack. Typically, a defensive coordinator will align his front first in order to defend the run and rush the passer. Let's start by discussing over and under defensive fronts. The over and under defensive front can be commonly seen in the 4-3 defense. The 4-3 defense has 4 down linemen and 3 linebackers. The 4-3 defensive scheme is fundamental to football. As for over and under, there are 2 distinguishing factors between them. 1, where the 3 technique is aligned, and 2, where the nose tackle is aligned. It is important for offensive linemen to understand defensive fronts because the defensive front determines your blocking. Over front. In the over front, the distinguishing factor is based on where the nose tackle and 3 technique are aligned. In over, the 3 technique will go to the close side or the strength of the offense. And the nose tackle will go to the open side or the weak side of the offense. In this example, the tight end or the Y will determine the strength of the offense. So starting from the strength, we will go down and talk about each player's alignment and gap responsibility. The end to the close side will be aligned in the 6 technique, and that end is responsible for the C gap. The defensive tackle to the close side will be aligned in a 3 technique, and the defensive tackle to the close side will be responsible for the B gap. The nose tackle will be aligned to the open side. The nose tackle will align in a shade and be responsible for the A gap. The end to the open will be aligned in a 5 technique, and that end will be responsible for the C gap. If the tight end trades, or if they come out and the tight end is now to the left, then you just swap the responsibilities to the left. The end is in the 6 technique, responsible for the C gap. The D tackle to the close side is in the 3 technique, responsible for the B gap. The nose tackle to the open side is in a right shade because the tight end is to our left and is responsible for the A gap. And the end to the open side is in the 5 technique and responsible for the C under front. In the under front, the distinguishing factor can be seen in where the nose tackle or the 3 technique are aligned. In the under front, the nose tackle will align to the close call or the strength of the offense. And the 3 technique will align on the open side or the weak side of the offense. In this example, the strength of the offense will be determined by the tight end or the Y. Starting from the close call, we will go down and cover each player's alignment technique and gap responsibility. The end to the close call is aligned in the 5 technique and is responsible for the C gap. In some defenses, that end could be aligned in the 7 technique inside shoulder of the tight end. The nose tackle now to the close calling under is aligned in a right shade because our tight end is to the right. Our 3 technique is now on the open side, outside shoulder of the guard to the left because our tight end is to the right. And that 3 technique is responsible for the B gap. The end on the open side is now in a loose 5. His inside foot is now aligned on an outside foot of the offensive tackle. And if the tight end is now on the left side, the strength changes and the gap responsibilities change. Here we have a closed left. Now the end to the left side is in a 5 technique or a 7 and is responsible for the C gap. The nose tackle is now in a left shade and is responsible for the left A gap. The 3 technique is now to the right and is aligned in a B gap. And the end to the right on the open side is in a loose 5 and is responsible for the odd front. In the odd front, there are 2 points you need to know. The first point is that anytime you see an odd front, most commonly, the defensive coordinator's purpose is to disguise. And the second point is that the nose tackle will always be aligned in a 0 technique. Now, for the sake of simplicity and to keep it fundamentals based, we will only cover 3 type of odd fronts. Base odd front, tight odd front, and your wide odd front. In the base odd front, you have 2 defensive ends aligned head up over the tackle in a 4 technique. Like I said at the beginning, your nose tackle is in a 0. In the tight front, now your defensive ends move from head up on the offensive tackles to the inside shoulder of the offensive tackles in a 4-eye. And your nose tackle is still in the 0. Now in the wide front, usually you will see wide at the end of the game when you're playing prevent defense and you're trying to keep everything in front of you and you just want the guys on the line of scrimmage to rush the passer. Now, that will put our ends in wide 5s. If you're a defensive end, you love getting in the wide 5 because you know it's my chance to go get the quarterback. And the nose tackle is still in a 0. But in this case, many teams will put a smaller guy there to wrap and chase the quarterback when he breaks the pocket. Thanks for tuning in to lesson number 2 of Trench Fundamentals for Linemen. Please make sure to go find me on social media. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all 3 at Coach Willie Bowe. I am also on YouTube, Coaching Expanded. This is where I post the full-length video of TFL and much, much more.